hump day, believe it or not. It's already Wednesday. Final Wednesday in May. We're going to be in June before you know it. We're going to be into the thick of the summer. God willing, this coronavirus thing is going to continue to subside. It's an interesting thing to watch the media say, look at 20 states. Cases are increasing. And then you look at each state and what they're talking about. They're talking about, of course, more positive cases, but of course there is extraordinarily more testing going on. So you're going to have more cases. I do understand it's accurate and fair to say the virus is still with us. It's not gone. But people are, Mark Thiessen over the Washington Post, open this country up now. More and more people are getting frustrated. Mark's argument, we've done what we said we would do. It's time to open this country up. Meanwhile, there's all kinds of other breaking news and developments that we've got to tackle today here on the Mike Gallagher Show, and I'm glad you could spend some time with us. Of course, Twitter is now, here it comes. Here it comes. Twitter now trying to fact check President Trump's tweets. And they're going to go down a rabbit hole that they're going to wish they never went down. Now they're starting, there's the pushback is enormous. It's the president's choice, his preferred method of communicating to the American people. And Twitter is facing a lot of pressure because people on the left and people who hate the guy don't want him to have that method of communication. He bypasses the mainstream media. He goes directly to the people. And now they're trying to do on Twitter what all the networks do to him, what everybody else does, and that is taint or edit or alter or otherwise influence his messaging. Many are saying Twitter's trying to impact the outcome of the election because they're trying to editorialize his tweets. I've said it a million times. That's why I hate the whole platform. I just do. I don't like it. I don't like any of it. I don't like any of it. But it is a platform that the president has used pretty effectively in terms of being able to talk directly to his constituents. So we're going to keep an eye on that. If you're big into Twitter and Instagram and all that, it's a big deal. If you're sort of indifferent to it, it probably isn't that big a deal. What certainly is a big deal is the presence of all kinds of protests and unrest taking place in the Minneapolis area after the death of a man named George Floyd. The cell phone video is so hard to watch, I don't even want us to really post it. It's that hard. It's just so, I guess we should post it. Pavlina's job is to put up video clips of things like this. It is a horrific incident that was captured on video as this guy who was apparently being arrested for forging a check. And all you see is this guy on the ground, handcuffed, with the Minneapolis police officer's knee in the back of the guy's neck. He is begging for his life. He kept saying, I cannot breathe. Please don't kill me. And he died. He was killed, evidently. The autopsy results haven't been released yet. It's got, of course, it's reminiscent of Eric Garner, but unlike the Eric Garner case in New York, Garner was pretty aggressively fighting back with these officers in New York, which is why the officers were exonerated. This guy, I don't see any video evidence, at least, of any kind of resisting. He's on his stomach with his hands, behind his back, handcuffed. The officer had his knee dug into the man's neck for what was described as between 8 and 10 minutes. And I'll be very honest with you, this is a painful thing for somebody like me to say because I respect law enforcement like you can't believe. I think these are the true honorable heroes of our culture. I believe police officers put themselves in a level of harm and in harm's way in a way that nobody else does. They're who you go to when you're in trouble. Um, but I don't know how there's any defending this at all. And in fact, I don't know that there will be any peace or any sense of justice for this man, George Floyd, until there is some degree of criminality in play. And I cannot believe that there won't be criminal charges of some level filed against this officer who it is believed essentially killed this guy on the ground. Of course, the police officers were immediately fired. Some people thought that was excessive because, of course, there was no benefit of a hearing or any benefit of, any due process. Evidently, the commanders and the law enforcement hierarchy in Minneapolis took one look at that video and said, we're not gonna put up with that. So all 4 police officers involved in the arrest of George Floyd have been immediately terminated. But that certainly won't be enough for the family or the community that is expecting an arrest. Have you seen this video? Do you have a different take on this than I do? Do you believe that somehow it was wrong or premature to fire the officers and that it's wrong to expect criminal charges being filed? Or do you think that is the inevitability that has to occur? There has to be accountability for the horrific, horrific death of George Floyd in Minneapolis. Our number is 800-655-MIKE. It's a very painful story for me because I really do admire and support law enforcement. And I know this makes these men and women's jobs so much harder all over the country. I have to believe, and I'd like to get a law enforcement perspective too. We have a lot of police officers who listen to this show, a lot of people in law enforcement. Feel free to call and give me your take on it because, frankly, your opinion will have more credibility than any of the rest of us because you've been there. You know what it's like to be out there trying to arrest somebody who may or may not try to take your life. Every time an officer is making an arrest and there's a physical confrontation, that officer's life can be in jeopardy. So I get that. I really do get it. But I don't get this one. And I don't know how there can't be criminal charges filed against the officer who it is believed his actions killed this man pinned to the ground in Minneapolis. Now, if you see it differently, it's okay. Join me. 1-800-655-MIKE.